Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers rumor hints at Aaron Rodgers' competition problem. There might be a code red for a quarterback in New Orleans this summer. It might be so serious the Pittsburgh Steelers might have another team in the hunt for Aaron Rodgers. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport broke the news Friday afternoon that Saints starting quarterback Derek Carr might miss the entire season with a shoulder injury. While drafting his replacement is possible, so is the Saints reaching out to the former Green Bay Packers superstar. Of course, fans in Pittsburgh are hoping Rodgers signs with the Steelers. With Carr facing shoulder surgery, there is another opening behind center with the Saints. And that could mean a competitive bidding problem for the Steelers. The Saints have 3 quarterbacks on the roster, but not a qualified starter in the bunch. The Saints have Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener, and former Dallas Cowboys backup Ben DiNucci. However, they tried the Rattler-Haener combination last season when Carr was sidelined and it did not work out too well. Rappaport does not anticipate the Saints to convince Rodgers to come to the Crescent City, but you do not get a smack for asking. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback available. I think everyone assumes he's going to Pittsburgh, Rappaport said. He hasn't made a decision. Pittsburgh, I think, is a better team. I would imagine the Saints would look at him. I'd imagine, I wouldn't know. How willing would he really be to go there knowing where the roster is? It isn't in a bad place, but it's not where the Steelers are. Should they not be successful with signing Rodgers, the Saints appear to be the odds-on favorites to draft Shedeur Sanders. DraftKings has the Saints as -130 favorites to draft the quarterback from Colorado. Steelers Stock Watch, OT Troy Fautanu by Matthew Marksey posted on April 14, 2025 at 7 a.m. Player, OT Troy Fautanu stock value, up reasoning. The Steelers saw little of Troy Fautanu as a rookie, but not because of playing time opportunities. They wanted him to have all the opportunities in the world, but he simply got injured. Since the season ended, we have only heard positive reports about his recovery and progress toward year 2. Our latest videos: the Steelers are counting on Troy Fautanu to be a home run first-round pick, or at least a really solid double. Perhaps he doesn't need to be a perennial All-Pro, but they need him to be perennially reliable. Last season, he failed to provide that due to injury, but there is optimism for his second season. Drafted 20th overall, Fautanu marked the second offensive tackle the Steelers selected in the first round in as many years. Because of last year's selection, he moved from left tackle to right, where he spent the offseason adapting. But during his first preseason game, Fautanu went down with a knee injury, missing the rest of the offseason. The Steelers' first-round pick slowly worked his way back, and started in Week 2, over Broderick Jones. By then, it seemed the plan was clear, the job was his. Only his body had other ideas. During the following week of practice, Fautanu suffered another injury, tearing his MCL. While there was some initial optimism that he could potentially return if the Steelers made the postseason, he never made it back. Instead, he spent the rest of his rookie year watching and learning. While he didn't return to practice, there seemed to be consistently positive reports about Troy Fautanu, including from himself, after the Steelers season ended, confident he would return to start the off-season program. The most effusive reports tend to come from the beat writers, presumably reflecting the Steelers' optimism. Of course, they can't really afford otherwise. The Steelers need Troy Fautanu to work out. He is one of the bedrocks of their rebuilt offensive line, upon which so much depends. Especially without a franchise quarterback, they need their trenches secured. They believe Fautanu will help them do that, as long as he can get on the field. With the new league year underway and the Steelers turning their roster over, it's once again time to take stock. It took a while, but we finally saw some of that change the team talked about after the season ended. Certainly, the move to trade for WR.DK Metcalf qualifies as a change, not to mention the accompanying contract. Pittsburgh Steelers insider drops massive Aaron Rodgers update that will excite fans for weeks. Pittsburgh Steelers fans have been anxiously waiting for former Green Bay Packers and New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers to make a decision on the 2025 NFL season. After being released by the Jets earlier this offseason with a post-June 1 designation, Rodgers did not exactly have a long list of teams lining up to bid on his services. In fact, the Steelers were really one of just two teams that expressed genuine interest, and the other team, the New York Giants, has since signed two veteran quarterbacks. Despite the fact that Pittsburgh is the only team currently willing to add him to their roster in 2025, Rodgers has not signed a contract with them. There is a strong indication, though, that he will. The only question is when. Aaron Rodgers will more than likely play for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025 as the NFL Draft is 2 weeks away. Many have begun to wonder if Rodgers is really seriously considering signing with Pittsburgh or if he will just simply retire. Nick Farabaugh of PennLive, however, has some very interesting updates and revelations on what has become a drawn-out courtship. On the rumors that the Steelers do not know what Rodgers is thinking, Farabaugh wrote, "Sources tell PennLive the Steelers and Rodgers have constantly communicated with one another since his visit to Pittsburgh 3 weeks ago." Two sources described Rodgers as actively engaged and said he has taken the initiative to drive interest. This is great news for Steelers fans who are concerned about their team being left in the dark regarding Rodgers' intentions and thought process. This revelation seems to indicate that Rodgers is certainly leaning towards playing for Pittsburgh in 2025. To add on to that, Farabaugh wrote, "The more interesting nugget I picked up was how his visit with the Steelers even came to be. Rodgers called the Steelers on a whim to set it up, with his travel already booked to Pittsburgh," sources told PennLive. Pittsburgh adjusted plans, which included Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan heading to Michigan Pro Day, to stay in Pittsburgh for the impromptu visit that Rodgers put together. Rodgers also asked for DK Metcalf's number to put together their workout. Interestingly, the in-person meeting between Rodgers and Steelers brass was not set up by the organization. It was set up by the four-time NFL MVP. He knows how important it is for coaches and general managers to be present at pro days, so one may assume that his interest is genuine as their meeting took place during Michigan's pro day. Why is it taking so long? Only Rodgers can answer that, and he is not talking to anybody, at least anybody that will reveal his thought process to the public. That being said, it sounds like the future Pro Football Hall of Famer will be suiting up for the Steelers in 2025. That should not, however, take away from Pittsburgh's intentions of taking a long hard look at possible young quarterbacks that they could develop in the upcoming NFL Draft. Are you a fan? What do you think about Aaron Rodgers' situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.